Okay, since I have Dania up right now, I'm going to go ahead and look at the daily since today's Tuesday, and then go from there. So currently, bulls are in control over the long term. Bears currently in control in the short term based off of this trend here. Let me finish drawing my lines here. So big, strong bearish movement to the downside on the short term side. And so here's our trend. Dollar currently breaking out of the secondary trend right here with the bulls currently in control. Here's a pivot where we have our lower low, higher low here, so continuation up to the upside. To eventually form a new higher high is probable. Highest price to beat right here, let me move this. So highest price to beat here is 84.75, and currently here is our level of demand here, and our next level of supply is right here at 82.40. So for the daily, this is the price to beat for the short-term side, and then continuation up to the upside to eventually test the 84.75 and then break out past that if it chooses to. And that's for the dollar index. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones real quick. Let's look at the Dow 30. So with the dollar index being in a level of supply, now we look at the Dow currently in a level, or excuse me, dollar index being in a level of demand, Dow currently in a level of supply, so that makes sense. So everything's divergent as it should be with our inverse correlation. So bulls overall in control, still in a real strong bullish uptrend. However, taking a little bit of a sell-off here at the 1560 level. So continuation to the downside for the retracement, highly probable. Let me throw a fib on there and get this. So, get on that low. Hang on a second. Retracement low. Okay, there we go. Okay, so retracement potentially down to the 38%, which is right here at 15,200, or to the 50% at 15,100, and then continuation back up to the upside if it continues on the same trend. That's on the daily. So right now, bears currently in control, so push to the downside, more than likely for the retracement, and then continuing back up to the upside. Let's take a look at some news. So for current news, right now we are on Tuesday, July 30th, and so current news here with medium impact news and high impact news right here. We have medium for the euro and the CAD and the dollar as well, and then for the dollar for high impact is CB consumer confidence, so that came out negative. And so now going all the way into actually the Kiwi, we saw some major news on as well, and so it came out at 52.8 for business confidence. Now going into Wednesday, July 31st for Eastern Standard Time, now we have a lot more moderate or medium impact news as well. So for the next trading day for Wednesday, we have news for the dollar and the CAD for non-farm payroll, GDP, and advanced GDP, as well as the FOMC statement. So bank news here is probably one of the highest forms of news here for Wednesday's news, and so that's for Wednesday. And so let's take a look at the stock futures. Let me refresh this page real quick. This market's mostly bullish for the Asian and European markets, and then for the Americas it's bearish. So it's a little bit of a position on our market bias here, which makes sense being that the dollar is bullish right now in that level of demand, so that makes perfect sense. So everything's looking as it should there. As for pairs, I'm just going to pick anything. Let's start with the Aussie yen here on, let's go on the daily. So the daily in pretty much it's in a bear market right now with lower lows and lower highs. Bears currently in control, even in the short term. So as we look at our demand levels here, so here's our supply and demand levels. Price breaking out here down below the 89,950, and this was the price to beat, and it did beat it currently with the current candle. And as you can see, even on the prior candle, still close below that level of demand right here. And so basically broke through that floor. So continuation on down to the downside, highly probable. So to our next level of demand here at the 87.55 mark. And then if that'll be our next level of the test, so it could be some buying right here to take profits, and then continuation down to the downside if it continues to do so. And let's see for let's look at method 2 daily. So for method 1, by the way, there's no setups until it gets that next level of demand, and we can look at if you want to go counter trend for a very short time, then continuing down to the downside, because right now the bears are way too strong. So if you are going to buy here at this level of demand, if it chooses to stabilize, then it's going to be for a very short time before continuing back down to the downside. So let's look at method 2. Method 2, its price is oversold right now, but there's no candle setups right now on the daily. Going to the 4-hour. Price still oversold, but no candle setups on the 4-hour as well. And we'll look at the 1-hour. 1-hour price almost oversold. Basically, the 10 line is 3 line needs to go below the 20 line, but there's nothing for setups for method 2 as well. And for method 3, no setups for method 3 on the daily. Here would have been our entry right here. Still a little bit of a gap here though, so not really anything set up right there for the daily. So the 4-hour, no setups here. If the entry to go short would be right here on this candle. So long run down, no setups for that either. 1-hour, nothing for the 1-hour as well. 1-hour here would be our signal to go short. So that's for the Aussie yen. So still have to be a little patient for that method 1 setup. As far as that goes, there's nothing else for method 2 or method 3. So let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. Okay, so looking at the Aussie dollar for the daily. Okay, so we're getting ready to test this level of demand right here. So this is the price to beat at pretty much 9,000. So it looks like a little slowdown here with price. Candle hasn't stopped forming yet, so we'll have to wait. On the weekly, could potentially be stabilizing on the weekly here, but this candle is still very strong, could easily break out through this level here at about the 89.76 level before continuing on down to the downside. And so with the weekly following suit, could very easily, or excuse me, the daily, could easily break through this level here. So as far as continuing moving to the downside, it's still very bearish on the Aussie dollar. And so if it can stabilize here, it would probably be only for a short term before continuing down to the downside based off of the weekly movement. Okay, so let's look at method 2. So price oversold as well. Have a little bit of stabilization with this candle. If this can hold here as this spinning top, then we'll need some bullish movement on the next candle to confirm this as a method 2 trade, and then pretty much moving above approximately the 91.40 level to go long on this for method 2, and that's for the daily, but we'll have to wait a couple days and see how that turns out. For the 4-hour, potential method 2 setup to go long here based off of this candle setup right here. We have our lower low. We need a higher low now with movement up to the upside to break past approximately the 90.49 level. Price oversold, so we'll have to wait and watch that for the rest of the day, or for the next about, let's see when this will be formed at 0100 Eastern Standard Time. So we'll have to wait for that. And for the 1-hour, nothing for the 1-hour as well. So let's check method 3. So looking at the daily. So we have a signal to go short here, but there's a big gap here based off of this candle. So this gap could certainly fill here, be expensive to buy or to sell based on this signal here. So I wouldn't. Though you are in a downtrend, so could potentially continue to the downside without even filling that gap based on the strength of that candle. So it's kind of iffy with that as far as getting a better entry price. And for a 4-hour, nothing for the 4-hour entry to go short would have been right here. So lots of movement down to the downside, and missed that setup. And for method, or for the 1 hour, excuse me, let's see, entry to go short would be here. So it's basically giving you another opportunity to go short here on the 1 hour based off of this current these candles here. So that's for the 1 hour. So there's a setup to go short here off the 1 hour. And that's it for the Aussie dollar. And does anybody have any questions about the Aussie yen or the Aussie dollar?
So what happened to your trade from last night? Did you make money from then, or what did you do with it?
Well, I basically lost money on the stop being too low. And so what I did was I re-entered on that because I knew it was going to continue to the downside based off of price movement. And so I made money. I made about 8 pips off of it, and I just closed the position. I basically just hedged myself off of my loss. So it was pretty much a break-even trade. Had my stop been higher, I would have actually made about 12, maybe 12 to 14 pips. So I just closed everything out, break-even, and then I closed everything up. I was also very tired last night, so I figured, well, I'm breaking even. I didn't really lose anything. I think I actually lost like a pip. So I just cut my losses and closed everything up and went to bed after that.
Okay, no worries.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
No questions. Very good, Jason.
Thank you.
Okie dokes. Jan, your turn.
Okay, so we'll take a look at the macro fundamentals of things today. Okay, just refresh this. Okay, so we got some results on the yen news earlier, and the next one will be euro at in half an hour's time. French consumer spending, medium one on the Swiss, and a few more of the euros, German unemployment, Italian unemployment rate, CPI unemployment rate. So it's going to be a quite a volatile period over the next couple of hours with the euro. And also then later on we'll have the ADP non-farm employment change in the US. Oh, Canada as well. GDP at about 10:30 my time, then advanced GDP, then some medium reports there as well. Okay, 4 a.m. Okay, this is going to move the market. FOMC statement and federal funds rate. So that will probably not change, but the statement will rock the market today. Then the following day would be these reports here, which will affect our trading today. Okay, the DXY. Let's take a look at that. Okay, the dollar index today, buyers yesterday were in control, nice pivot point right here, higher low, higher high. However, it's still on a downtrend. This could just be a correction before it may continue further to the downside. But if not, if it breaks downtrend lines, so that would be our primary. And this will be, so there's a clear breakout of the secondary downtrend line right here. So there could be some form of a correction. The next price to beat will be these highs right here, about the 82.40. Then if it breaks that, it will go further up. But if not, maybe some form of a, if it doesn't want to, may even go further down and retest the 81.40 to about the 80-60 price areas. But for now, buyers are in control. Could be a slight correction to the upside, and then before it may continue to the downside. Okay, let's look at the futures. Futures market, not much change. It's still the Dow's just -5, still early in the day, so it's pretty flat really. The European zone is also quite flat, quite mixed down there, and the Asian market just closed and into the futures, but the Asian market, they're now into the futures mode, but there's a big drop in the Nikkei and slight drop in the Hang Seng, but the ASX 200 is up today, so that was quite good. I'm not sure why, but yeah, they perform quite well today. Okay, let's look at the Dow. The Dow is not doing much at the moment. A few dojis in a row, so there could be they're probably waiting for those reports later on today, especially the Fed statement. So it's all dojis in a row, just consolidating between 2 points. It's in blue sky territory at the moment. So the next high to beat is that high there above the 15,600, and created a new low right here. So that could be a new higher low. Then could also move further up to the upside if the news later is quite good. So let's move this uptrend line to here. If not, then they may cover these tails right here to about the 15.4 area for a bit of a retracement before it may continue to the upside, since the trend overall is still up. So nothing much happening there at the moment with the Dow. Okay, I'll look at the euro against the dollar. Euro against the dollar on M1 based on the daily chart. What we can see here is that it's on still on an uptrend with this short-term trade right here. Created a new high yesterday, although it's a doji. More reports happening today. So that's a new high there, and the next high to beat will be these areas right here, about the 133.93, and these areas here as well. So up to about 134, 133.90 and 134 price areas, which is not too far there. And if it does break that, then there'll be a downtrend line right here, and it may go further up. But if not, it's just showing some form of a correction before it may continue to the upside. There's a pivot point that we can see here, but if it breaks this low here, then it may correct itself further to about the 131, 132 price areas. So nothing yet, just a consolidation period, correction, before we'll decide whether to continue up or correct itself down. But sellers in control, as we can see it for now on this daily candle. On the 4-hour chart, 4-hour chart, clear indication of the consolidation period, price ranging between, this price is right here, but the 132.30 and the 133. So it's 50 pips up and down within this area. At the moment, sellers in control, demand may go further up, but may just also go sideways at the moment. On the 1-hour chart, 1-hour chart, sellers are also in control at the moment, back to the level of demand, nothing there. M2, it's showing overbought at the moment, but currently there's no setup. 4-hour chart, heading towards the oversold, but currently there's no setup. 1-hour chart, the oversold, but also no setup at the moment. M3 daily is still in play from the entry here to close that gap to the 8 and the 10. So there's no exit strategy yet for the short on the daily. Still to the long side. 4-hour chart. Different story. There was an entry to go short was this candle right here. and still to the short side at the moment, but struggling to push itself to the downside. Okay, so that's probably the most that you'll make on the 4-hour chart for now. On the 1-hour chart, also to the short side, entry was this candle here, and back to the level of demand. So there's nothing there for now. So M1 and M2 and M3, there's no setups. Okay, let's look at the dollar CAD. Opposite. So we'll see. Okay, so the dollar against the CAD after a big drop, so it's on the downside, downtrend from here, and a short-term downtrend from here. Overall, it's still on an uptrend. This could be a new pivot point right here to the upside. Okay, so yesterday's low is higher, and buyers are in control here, and there we can see now a clear continuation of the buyers to the upside. Okay, so if we draw our trend line to there, even if we draw it here, there's already a clear breakout of the primary downtrend line. So this may continue to the upside. However, it may also be a slight correction before it may continue further. So if it does, we can draw our, just check the lows. Okay, so that's lower. Yeah, so it could correct itself to at least the 103.50, even 103.70 area, if it wants to, even 104. Wants to, before it will decide whether to break these levels to right here. Yeah, 104.46, it's a good supply area before it may. If it does, then a new it may proceed up and beat the highest about the 106.09 area. Okay, so this could be a new higher low, next stop higher high, but it needs to break these highs here above the 104.40, and also needs to break the high of 106 as well. Wants to continue up, but if not, there could be a slight correction, and then may push further down to just hit the primary uptrend line right here to about the 102 price areas if it wants to. So at the moment, buyers in control. On the 4-hour chart, 4-hour chart, also buyers are now in control, creating higher highs and higher lows right here. And on the 1-hour chart, okay, buyers also very much in control, creating higher lows, and also now a new higher high forming there as well. Okay, let's look at M2. M2, there's currently no setup, but it's in the oversold area. For the daily 4-hour chart, no setup, it's in the overbought area. 1 hour. Also heading the overbought area, but currently no setup. Nice push to the upside by the buyers on the 1 hour. Okay, M3 daily. M3 daily, okay, so nicely closing the gap between the 8 and the 10 to the downside still. Need a push to the upside. If it does, then we need one more day for this to have a setup, but currently there's nothing. 4-hour chart, the setup was this candle here and still in play to the upside. And the 1-hour chart, second candle above the 8 and the 10, so not to the upside as well. Yeah, close the long from here, close it there, and then up now again to the upside. Okay, so setup for the CAD. There is a setup for it's a pivot right here. So if you got in at the retracement of this, then that would be your entry, because it's now a continuation to the upside for the M1. M2 and M3, currently there's nothing yet. Any questions with dollar CAD and euro against the dollar?
No questions.
No
Good
questions.
job.
Okay, cool. So what current trades do you have at the
Nice, thank
moment, Jason?
I re-entered on the dollar CAD again.
Okay. Did you get a better price?
No, I didn't get a better price, but I did get out of that level of support where I kept getting taken out on that demand level.
Okay. Anything else aside from that?
No, that's it for right now, Ray.
Okay.
I'm actually being a little careful right now because I have currently having some deficiencies with my stop placement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just taking one trade at a time just to kind of manage it and just kind of scale back a little bit and just kind of observe and be a little bit more careful with what I'm doing before I start going in a little bit heavier like I was before.
The other thing is that's easy to fix. Why would you put your stop, so close to where put it on the last low of the actual trend? So rather
Right.
than you being careful, 'cause if that's the case of what you're trying to achieve is basically you're always getting stopped out, put it on the last low of the trend. So in other words, the 101. 36, 27, that will be your initial stop, and then once you're on the safe side, then put it on the actual low of the new low of the trend. And then also part of your trading strategy should be it's so easy. You need to just have a look and say, okay, I'm buying at the 1 hour. I need to go back straight away to the daily. It is definitely important to know your why and what basically your intent of why you're trading. That will give you that extra reminder or self-awareness. In actual fact, I think I shared it to Ann today. For the next it's only a 3-minute. It's a 3-minute video. Go through my site on the homepage. You can see there just on the where news is. Play that, and then you basically watch your why. So that will be as part of your reminder all the time. So I was telling Anne as well, not the same issue what you've got, but a different issue today, and I said, watch that. So I'll give you 3 minutes, watch it, and then basically we'll discuss it and I'll go through straight to Anne.
Okay. You said it's on the news page?
Not on the news page, on the home page, and on the
Home
bottom, in the middle part, where it says, "Do you have what it takes to be an elite trader?"
Oh, okay.
Play that on the bottom on the video.
Okay, I see it.
Yes.
Okay. You want me to do that right now?
Yes, please. It's only a 3-minute video. Hey, Jason, if you play it, do we actually can we see it? I mean, is there sound? Do you reckon? Okay, sorry, and let me just pass the presentation to Jason and let's see if there's an actual sound itself.
Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no sound.
There's no sound?
That's okay. But you can hear it on your end, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. That was cool, huh? That's why, when you're trading, you definitely really need to
Yes.
know why you're actually really trading. Are you trading for the sake of trading? Are you trading because you want to make money? You're trading because you're in the learning process to make money. So if you're making those little mistakes, and that means that there is also an issue on the reason why you're really trading. Because if you really think about the words that you're saying, right? I'm really being careful right now because of this blah 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 blah. You're being careful. So with the word being careful means a lot of certain things, right? Means that, oh, I better watch out. I'm gonna tighten my stop, and then bam, you get stopped out all the time. Why? Because you're being careful. Careful means being fearful. So if you just watched that video, why are you trading? You're trading because you're fearful. You're not trading to make money. You're trading because you want to be fearful. You're afraid of trading, even though consciously you're saying you're not afraid, but subconsciously you are afraid. Don't you worry. 95% of traders who lose money in the marketplace are fearful. And that's part of the mechanism of why they lose consistently, is because of the fear, because they're being careful. Once you get rid of the word, say, I'm not being, I'm no longer being careful, I'm courageous, it's like uh, basically everything the opposite of what we're discussing, then totally guarantee you won't be fearful. That means that you're going to have wider stops. And if that will be the case, if you're being fearful, then you need to change your time frame. Then maybe swing trading is really not for you. Then maybe day trading should be for you, or momentum trading. Does that make sense, Jason?
It makes sense. I think it was just a poor use of words, and maybe I started developing a bad habit there for the last week, which is maybe why that started happening. I
No,
mean, I
it
know.
is. I'm sorry to cut you off, Jason, but that's your conscious thinking. Subconsciously, though, because what's happening is because the part of the filtering between the conscious and the subconscious, you will create a filtering process similar to Anne's issue today. She acknowledged it. However, in order for her to make it feel good, she has to justify that she's winning because it makes her feel good. Now, consciously, we say that, but subconsciously, where at the moment you're filtering everything about the reasoning behind it, then maybe I should be careful with the choice of words. Remember, that's from the subconscious level. Everything that we say always comes from a subconscious level, and this is actually that's why, that terminology, your words, is simply the source of your soul. So, in other words, it is who you are as an individual. Because if you were aware, rather than not thinking consciously, but if you're aware subconsciously, you won't be saying what you're saying, like being careful right now. In class, I hear that with you a lot. If probably within a day, probably you're thinking about being careful, probably guarantee you're more than 100 times a day, or maybe even perhaps probably 1,000 times a day. This man, I forgot the book that I was reading, but there was a book that they basically stated that scientific research have proven that with certain thoughts, it triggers pretty much almost 1,000 times probably a day, either negatively or positively, especially negative thoughts. The words, the word being careful. I guarantee you, if you talk to your parents, probably when you're growing up, all they were probably saying to you is, be careful, Jason, be careful this, be careful that. It's part of our upbringing, like depending on the old school, you're not allowed to touch certain things and things like that. That's why, for me, I get irritated if, say, for example, my mother-in-law or my mom or anybody who basically come up to my daughter and say, be careful. I always tell them, stop saying that. Don't give them fear, Because how is it that we're supposed to know and experience something if you already tell them be careful and they even haven't tried it as yet? And that's when they're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Because I don't tell my kids be careful. I actually, I encourage them to do it. Because if I'm saying to my kids, oh, be careful, watch out, I always tell them be focused, be aware. I said, you can do it, keep doing it, but just be aware of your surroundings. So even when she fell last Friday, it's a scary thing. She got concussion. I tell her, like, you can play, you can do whatever you want, but you just have to be focused. You just have to be aware because you don't want to experience another same experience like concussion. So it is important to do certain things. Unfortunately, through old school way of thinking, and the way how we've been brought up, compared to the amount of technology, the information that we've got, the book that you're currently reading. So these are the things that it's giving us a different way of thinking and going to a different dimension, right?
Right.
We didn't have that information, or our parents didn't have that information, and our grandparents didn't have that information, what we have today. Unfortunately, even up to this day, people who are close-minded, information is out there. People are very skeptical. They will just want to believe in what they believe in. Unfortunately, they will never go to the next level because they just believe in what they believe in, even though information is out there about self-development, right? People will think, oh, probably it's a cult, or it's this, or it's that, but it's not, because they're just fearful. These are the type of people who are going to be fearful the rest of their lives. That's why in terms of trading, how many times I've met traders who are fearful. They're fearful because they're not willing to go out, beyond their domain. I see it all the time, being in the education industry. If I put everything, a webinar about trading psychology, one or two probably will attend. Technical analysis system, man, people will just keep on coming. Give out free information, they will come. You pay, they pay for it, they're not willing to pay for it. For me, I don't see that point of logic, right? Because they want everything being either spoon-fed to them, and there's no commitment, no nothing. So, fearful, detachment to money. I believe that if, you're in a point of business, in the business of trading, then the number one thing that they should be investing about themselves is, one, about the psychology, two, about education, mainly the education first, right? But a lot of people won't invest into their education because why? Once again, they're fearful because they don't know what's beyond them, and at the same time, they're afraid of spending, right? Yeah. In business, I believe, my philosophy is that if I pay for something I have to make sure that if I going to invest in my education and make sure that I'm going to make at least a minimum of 20 or 30% out of that investment. Now that's good business. But people, people have a different way of thinking, obviously, but it's just the way how it is. So going back now into your situation is that these are the things that you need to meditate on, go into a subconscious level and see where the fear came from. Like the words being careful, who taught you that word? When was the first time you experienced of being careful? And so it's interesting to see that because of that fear that you've established, being careful, and funny enough, you joined the military. Why? In my own personal opinion, it's a total just reflection that I want to experience to be more adventurous. In order for me as well not to be fearful is to go out there. I mean, you've experienced more stuff than anybody within this room. To go to a war zone where your life is on the line, man, that's courageous, right? So, but in terms, this is what they say about, the yin and yang. When you're fearful, you will find a way not to be fearful. So in other words, you will do certain things not to overcome that fear. So hence, that's why you do trading, you were in the military, you love racing, you love the adventurous stuff. because probably somewhere in the past too, when you were a kid, things that you wanted to do, you've been limited to do, right? So because probably they tell you, hey, be careful, you don't want to get hurt, blah, 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 blah. And if I was to share with you, I asked my mom, said, hey, Mom, do you remember the first time when I asked you if you want to go to Taekwondo? And then she goes to me, maybe around 7. That's right, about 7 or 8. How many years did I keep on telling you that I want to go to Taekwondo? And she goes, pretty much almost every day. And then so she remembers, because of the persistence, hey, I want to keep on doing it. But because of that, I asked her, said, why? Why didn't you want to let me? Because I was very overprotective. See, it's just a common thing.
Right.
Parents are overprotective of their kids, and it's just a normal thing. You don't want kids to get hurt and so forth. But you cannot, as a parent, we can. I believe that my job is just simply just to guide them, but they have their own life. They have their own path that they have to go through. But I have just to guide. It's like being a coach, right? I'm just guiding you to be on that right path, not to go on the wrong path. Why? Because of the past experience. So my job as well as a parent is to guide my kids, to make proper choices to be on the right path. But later on in life, they will choose the wrong path. And then that's part of their experience because they have to live their own life. It's part of their learning process. So this is also part of your learning process. Your learning is not being careful, but your learning is to be courageous out there by putting a bigger stop, having a better risk management. That is your learning. The money aspect will come once you've mastered your learning, your process of learning, which is now to be courageous. So I highly recommend, as part of your affirmation, daily affirmations, is mainly to say that I am confident, I am courageous. I am confident, right. I am courageous. I'm a master in risk management, or I'm a master risk manager. So those are your affirmations that you need to do on a daily basis. That will help you out. But of course, when Karina comes back, man, definitely she'll get you to the next level, man.
Yeah, I need that a lot. But at least we've identified that the psychology, as I work with with you in the course, that I understand how important psychology is. And a lot of it too is you're absolutely right. It's things that we don't even think about that we've been ingrained in since we were kids. Old belief systems that need to be replaced with new belief systems. And like you said, and that you pointed out, that makes total sense to me. It's just finding those key words that will change the way you think, and it's night and day. It's not just words, right?
Absolutely. Because remember, the subconscious is so powerful because it's just been recorded, been ingrained, and it's part of who you are in each and every cell in who you are as an individual. But in order to replace that, to either erase it or re-record it in order to more on the positive side, it takes time, it takes conviction to have the proper belief that this is who you are. And hence is why hypnosis is actually really powerful stuff, because hypnosis is the only way that can go through to the root cause of a limiting belief, and it will be changed into a different level of belief, from a limiting to a supporting belief.
Right.
But if you want to do it just on your own, forget it, because the conscious is so smart that it will filter everything from what you see, from what you hear, from what you touch. And then part of the filtering process, the subconscious is going to say, that's not you, don't like it, I'll spit it up. Bam. Right? Doesn't like it, nope, spit it out. So unless you acknowledge it and you really confidently believe in it, that's why a lot of people, once you lose weight, can't lose weight. It's because of the same process. Deep down inside, they believe that they're not them. So hence the confidence, right? Self-conscious. Then all of a sudden, something happens, bam, they go back to the same stuff. In trading, it's also the same. It's just like, people losing weight, people trade. and becomes an addiction because it fulfills them or whatever is missing in their life. All of a sudden they're being successful in terms of winning, and then all of a sudden one trend, bam, self-sabotage, and then bam, back to the spiral motion. And then the subconscious will say, I told you so, because that is who you are, not the other one. See how it's fighting between the conscious and subconscious. Subconscious will always win because it's been ingrained as part of the recording, right? It's already been recorded since you were a child. So yeah, very powerful stuff, man. So you got to be careful.
Exactly. Well, I know, like, you know, with my goals and stuff, that there's no, like, failure is really not an option, or giving up is not an option, but to instead identify these old belief systems and old habits and just replace them with new ones. I without a doubt, I have to. It's not like, you know, can I? It's when I, you know, and it's not an option. So it's good having a coach, because that way, you know, I mean, especially with you guys, you can identify these things, because I don't know when I'm making a lot of these, when I'm bringing out these beliefs, and so it's vital. It's vital that I overcome these, because there's no other option.
Exactly, and nobody does, right? Especially on a hypnotic state. You know, when we're daydreaming, you're not being aware of your thoughts. You'll come once in a while, but not on every millisecond. And hence, it's always good to have a coach. And I'm actually glad that I found one that I can resonate in terms of a spiritual level, because, the same philosophy, the same belief, the same way of thinking. I think because of the education too, of being an NLP practitioner and also learning hypnosis basically helps to be on the same wavelength. But in addition, creating also like having that Reiki, like not just Reiki, like now, you know, go to chiropractor, I like to look after my body, then I'll get a massage. So in trading, to have to be in an ultimate state as an ultimate trader, you know, not just the psychology part, the body aspect, looking after your health, the energy aspect, because it will always affect us, and depending on where the moon's at, depending on, everything is all about energy. Sometimes, you know, either full moon, new moon, or half moon, it will affect our emotional state, and then it goes through a spiral motion, right? Because at the end of the day, we're still part of the universe, we're still part of the energy, we're still stars, if you really think about it. You know, the light, the source, which is within us, and it's just being formed into a human flesh, because one day when we're gone, that light or that main source will have to transfer to something else. It could be anything. So, and as part of that source, we are part of the connectiveness of mass consciousness within the whole universe, and it will be affected based on our energies. That's why for me it's important for me to maintain that, have basically, you know, a set sort of procedure, but, you know, as part of my trading element, is not just about technical skills, not just about the psychology part, but also to get coaching, get proper massage, get a chiropractic work, you know, all this type of stuff in order to be in the ultimate state. In other words, because why? Because we're competing all the time. You just don't know it. Actually, my wife told me, I said, you know, why do you trade? And I said, it's easy to make money. And I said, but I believe you trade because you want to win. I said, I know that I want to win, but then I become smarter, because part of my coaching too is that, yes, everything is in a learning process, and I'm very competitive, and nobody wants to lose. However, with proper education, proper skill, proper knowledge, that I accept that there is part of that losing. So, however, I told my wife, doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a loser if I didn't, you know, if I lost at a marketplace. That for me, that's not the defined meaning of being a champion. To be a champion trader is regardless of whatever the end result is going to be. win or loss, but it's the process, the learning experience. So did you do the whole process correctly based on the system, the methodology, based on being disciplined, having the integrity, and so forth? Then if so, if you win, awesome. If you don't win, then I still bow down to the marketplace, and I still rate myself as being a champion because I follow the same process over and over again. So,
Right.
I mean, in life, everything is the same. Like, there's a certain process that we just do certain things which create habits, like a habitual process. The question is it a good habit or a bad habit? So if we do good habits, then we get good results. If we do bad habits, then we don't get good results. So everything is all relative. So cool. That's pretty much it. Man, sorry, Ann. I know your end. Yeah, I think you have the pound yen, right? The one that you have an issue with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just basically I didn't follow the pivot rules. I anticipated the pivot rule instead of being patient and waiting at the end of the day. I just went in and yeah, I'm losing at the moment, so not very good.
It's okay, it's just part of your learning. Everything is about learning, and as long as you acknowledge it, and at the end of the day, it's really you know what the answer is, nobody else but you yourself. And unfortunately, sometimes we want to get some form of acknowledgement or some form of confirmation from somebody else. That's why we ask. But at the end of the day, subconsciously, we already know what the answer is. So a simple question once again, who you are being within that moment, and why are you trading? What is your why in terms of trading? Are you trading to make money, or because are you trading to create systems? Are you trading to be fearful? Are you trading because you want anticipation, or you want the anxiety, you want the challenge? And if you can answer those, it's easy. You know what the true answer is, and you won't be doing what you'll be doing. Okay, pretty cool. I mean, there's two of you, but I think it's a good class. Well done, well done in your analysis. In terms of the analysis, I have no issues. I believe you guys have gone to the next level once again. It's just the next level all the time is simply who we are as an individual, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
it's the hardest part.
Where's John?
Exactly.
Where's John, Jason?
Probably on a date again. See, he makes fun of me when I go on dates, and then he turns around and goes on a date. He's such a hypocrite. I'm gonna give him trouble tomorrow when I see him.
Don't worry, mate. We'll do it. We'll do it together.
So let's do it, right? I'm ready. He needs a good chewing.
Exactly. All right, man.
Thanks, guys, for everything. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.